Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.
All right, we are back in full effect in the Detroit is Different podcast studios, and I'm your host Khary Frazier. Today I got somebody that is one of my homeboys,
my man,
somebody that definitely goes back 100 grand. When it comes to politics, we definitely sometimes stand on different sides of the fence.
We do.
But when I say this is my man's, this is my man's. Vaughn Arrington. How you feeling, my brother?
Man, listen, the love is real, bro. I'm feeling full of it right now. I'm full of appreciation. I'm digging everything that you putting down, bro. There's so much happening in your space. I'm glad to be up in here, man. I'm loving it, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, this is such a unique story that people are going to watch unfold as they see like young black men come together, and we getting a little bit older, but still just like young black dudes coming together with vision and with business and purpose. Let's get into the usual Detroit is Different story. Yeah. So your family, Detroit, what led your family and your people to come to the city of Detroit?
Well, I mean, that's a story, man. One of the tailorings of the issue is trauma. My mother, man, it's a story, but I'm gonna make it so short though, man. I got a mother who was adopted, and I don't know all of the details to this, but I do know that one part of her family is white that I never got to meet.
Okay.
And we found out later on down the line that she actually had a different mother than who we thought.
Okay.
And so that's a whole story of how it all happened, but I do know that there was some issues that made her stay here.
So she was adopted by a family here in the city of Detroit.
That's right. Yep.
And she decided to stay.
She decided to stay. My mother has been here. Now, she, as we got a little bit older, she wanted to move out of the city as things took a left turn. And so now she ain't here. But, man, we prided on the city, bro. We here. We ain't leaving, bro. So all of my siblings, we here in the D.
So father's side, whereabouts they from?
Oh man, my father's family is down south.
Okay,
they all outside of the D.
What part of down south?
Oh man, it's so spread. It spread so much, Khary. They down in Mississippi. We got some in Alabama.
Basically, like every state you could think of.
They down there, bro. My father would have to tell that story because I don't even know it. But I do know this. I know my father, man. My father surprises me. He kind of like you, bro, on the way of. You know how me and you back in the day when we used to converse on a common time, we would talk about something and then I would know a little something about this one particular subject matter, and then you would just come back like, yeah, bro, I know all about that.
Hilarious.
And you would just know so much about. That's how my father is, man. He knows so much about so many different things. And he just a great guy to talk to though, but straight up pride in the city. He a different kind of guy, bro.
I met him one time. I remember. I don't even know if you remember. At what led him this way from being down south?
My father, he was born here. Mm-hmm. He was born here, but when you go back to my great grandparents, they all came up here. I believe that happened during the time where everybody was trying to get them jobs, bro.
Okay,
that's what I think took place. And you got a story where you got a bunch of hustlers, man, that's trying to make sure that their families eat, their families are doing well, that they got some type of generational income, wealth going on. And my father has always been that kind of guy to make sure that something is moving that's taking care of him, his family, his people. And so I think what brought them here is the same thing that keeps my father moving the way he moved now, man. One of the smoothest, most honest, most real, and something really unusual that's different about my father, Khary. Not one time in my whole life, I'm 39 years old, bro, I have never heard my father say a negative word, bro, about anyone. Real different kind of guy, bro. Maybe that's that Southern hospitality coming through his spirit.
He was mad cool when I met him. And when I say cool, not cool like, okay, he was cool on that level of like, somebody, cool has many meanings in the black community. So like somebody can be cool, meaning that they are like a cool person to meet, friendly, kind,
Yeah.
but also cool like Snoop Dogg. Like, damn, he like something about this dude is just like in the cut. You know what I'm saying? So
for
he
sure.
was kind of hit both of those. But along with both of those, you said all your siblings, brothers and sisters. How many?
Man, so I got as a lot of folks in the D, I got 2 families. I got the mother, I got the father side.
Yeah.
So on the mother side, it's 4 of us total, and all of us are here in the city. I am one of the 2 boys, and then there's 2 girls. I got a younger sister, older brother, older sister.
Okay.
And then on my father's side, man, it's 5 of us over there, and I'm the oldest boy out the group.
Okay. Now, neighborhood. What neighborhood did you grow up at, like, as a kid?
Whew. Okay, so let's just say this. My father and mother they was in the hustling business, bro, pushing them rocks out.
Yeah.
So you know what that leads to. We moved a lot.
Okay.
We was in the number streets.
What do you remember, like, what was the first home you remember, like, as a childhood recollection?
Stahalin.
Okay.
I remember we stayed on Stahalin, like Plymouth.
So like that Cody neighborhood.
Yep, down up in there, bro. Not too far. Not too far from Cody. We was like right there. But we were there, and I remember we had to move because the house got broken into from the dope selling. They came in looking for the money, so we had to move, and then we moved again. We lived on 12th and Webb. We lived on Linwood and Buena Vista, which is right around the corner from this
basically
spot.
around here, my neighborhood.
Right here. Yeah, I mean, this used to be my hood.
And that whole way, and your people stayed in the game that whole time.
They did.
And when you in the game moving, that brings a different identity. Like, even if you know people, you don't necessarily know people when you working the underground economy.
Yeah.
Your man say, yeah, man, you can move down the street. But you don't even know if your man just said move down the street, maybe setting you up on a play that he's setting up or something.
Right. Yeah, man.
And then actually being in the game, having children where you moving is a whole different get down. My homeboy Big James, and right now I'm doing the garden right there where Big James' house is.
Yeah.
Big James' house, his dad, Little James was the kid. It's a different reality. What was that like, just seeing, like, when did you know that, like, this is different than what other kids have? Was it looking at TV? Was it when you went to school? How did you recognize that, like, okay, this household is a little bit different than what the other kids see? You know what?
It actually, man, I didn't really notice until I was in prison how different my family was. I didn't realize it. But growing up, we moved so much, and I didn't really know that was different. I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
And then my mother and my father split, and so the dope game on the rocks kind of just dropped off. And then both of my parents, they hustled weed though, so they individually did that still, but it wasn't no more that real fast-paced life. But growing up, man, I had a lot of stuff that I ain't think it was different than anybody else. I had huge train track in my basement, man, and stuff like that. But I ain't never know, what the difference was. I ain't really realizing until I was in prison, and I watched the Cosby Show. Actually, I watched the Cosby Show on that 13-inch KTV black and white, man, up in what was I? I was up in Ionia. Funny name too, right? Yeah. Ionia. Yeah, but I was there.
I thought you said Alpena, but Iona.
Yeah, Ionia, man. I was there. Alpena ain't too far though. We going up north. But I was at Bellamy Creek Correctional Facility watching the Cosby Show, man, and they was eating at the table. And I just thought, like, damn, why I ain't never get to sit at the table and eat. My mother would never allow us to be at the table and eat and do stuff like that. What's that about? So I started to realize that my family was different in another context. They was different in that, it was some issues brewing that later on I would want to work on resolving in the black community,
So, and then in unpacking some of that, let's talk about some of your school journey. Because, definitely being a kid of a dope boy, and especially, like, when your mom was in the game with him too, that's like a whole different get down. That's like what we watching on, people watching on television, like with Snowfall or The Wire or something like that. But living it, it's a different reality. Like I say, I remember what Little James had. Like, it would be so weird because, like, some days Little James would have like a new gold chain, But then some days we would have to, like, I remember my mom used to, like, sometimes have to take like water buckets over to James and them house, because it would be the up and down of where things would go with the crews and how money went. And this is like we the same age, so this is like the late 80s, where money was, people would leave a plant, damn near drop their check at the door of the dope spot, and you know what I'm saying. So it was money, and then it was no money. You know what I'm saying. So it's like, in some ways, James had the 8-ball jacket as a kid, but then James sometimes went out running water. It was some weird shit. Yeah,
man. That was the turbulence of that era. Of us having money, but we also had along with a lot of money of doing that plant life, there was also a whole lot of trauma that we dealt with as families. And so you start to see people trying to find ways to deal with that trauma, because mental health and dealing with all of that stuff, man, a lot of our folks don't deal with it in the way that we should. And so you end up in this position where they find other ways to deal with it. And so
the drugs itself is the escapism to the gateway.
There you go. That's it.
It's, getting high is a vacation.
Hey, listen, it's getting high. You lifting yourself away from the problems that are within your environment. And that's one thing I'm proud of with me and you, is we never escaped that, bro. Like no matter how much money moving or whatever we dealing with, whatever, no matter how hard it is, we continue to fight that fight, bro. Like, we could have been left, but we here because we know what we got to do.
Now, when you talk about knowing what you got to do, school for you, what schools did you go to that you were in?
Here come the list. Because we moved. So Stewart Elementary, which don't even really exist where it did, which was right over here. Stewart's gone. I went to Pastor Elementary. I went to Marsh. I went to John R. King. So there we go. That's 4 or 5 elementary schools. That's a lot, man. And then I moved on to middle school, and I did Cerveny, Winship, and then Guess. Yep, I did Guess, and then I got kicked out of Detroit Public Schools.
Middle school?
In middle school, I ended up getting kicked out. Yeah.
What was the incident that led you to get kicked out in middle school at DPS?
I think I got into a fight of some sort, man. I don't even remember, Khary, but it was something to do with fighting and gang stuff.
Okay. Yeah. And gangs here are different, but what neighborhood? Because I think it's more like street affiliation and
that was the usual Detroit with street affiliation, and then we had started getting into some Chicagoan stuff, man. I think some fellas came to my neighborhood that was from the Chi, and we started this little, it was Folks.
I mean, we remember Folks, you know, so people know, like, Folks Up, like, if you remember, well, it's still strong in Chicago. I mean, Vice Lord, gang culture is different in Chicago than it was here. Sure. But for a stint in the 90s, Folks, you see these little pitchforks. You know, Folks for our Lord King Satan. You know what I'm saying? Like, Folks Up. You see people, like, doing Folks Up. You see, like, these little pitchforks, and then people, like, holding the folks up, and, like, as they know, like, throwing the gang sign, stacking and dancing, doing the arrow flint and hitting the folk sign. And you be like, I don't want to ride your bike down that street.
Yeah, man. A lot of folks, and the folks didn't mean what a lot of folks said it meant, but it originally started out with something very positive, man. It was something. I think it was one of the first community groups established to make sure that the folks in the community were safe, away from the folks that was designed to come against us, the police officers. That beat wasn't for us. That was to go and get us. And I don't think a lot of black folks know about that. And I'm glad you're knowledgeable on that, because I'm sure you didn't spit on it.
I mean, many, as we know, I don't know how many people watched it from Boone. Bastards of the Party, a great documentary about the start of the Bloods, but many of the organizations. So when I say Folks for our Lord King Satan, that's definitely down the line. But a lot of what was labeled as gangs in the black community and even in the Italian community were security forces protecting against police and other oppressors. Many times, like even when we think of what the Crips were, but then you have. You include the insecurities, the traumas, the adolescence, and how to make decisions, and especially so much money that was moving in the 90s.
Right.
It changes the dynamics of what that group is.
Yeah, it definitely did do some changing. You're right. That's how the alterations, I think, came about, was younger guys with a different agenda.
Yeah.
Want money, wanting power, wanting to be respected in a way that probably wasn't really respect for real.
Yeah.
And that stuff started to twist and turn what it originally was created to be. And so, you know, that's where I came into it at, was where it wasn't what it was intended to be when I got into it. And so we ended up wreaking havoc in the community, man. The gangs, it changed from the street gangs into folks, and then a lot of folks were saying folks down, which was really a disrespect. It wasn't ever a set. Folks down wasn't never a set. It was just a way to disrespect the folks.
Yeah.
And so those guys, man, we beefed a whole lot of junk going on in the hood. But that stuff, man, I came into, and I was over around the area 6 Mile Schaefer during that time.
Ah, man.
Moving back in and out from Southwest Detroit
Okay.
to West Side Detroit, and getting all wrapped up in that. And that's around the time I went to prison. I was in Cooley High School at the time I went to prison. Cooley accepted me. Yes, man. And Cooley.
So you got back in DPS.
I did,
in the
bro.
one school you went to. Definitely, when we think about like schools that intersect a lot of neighborhoods, I went to Northwestern. Cooley's another one of those schools.
It is.
So you got like Finkel.
Yeah.
You got Puritan. So
Yep.
like, you know, people be like PAs, you know,
Yep.
FAs,
Mm-hmm.
folk. You know what I'm saying?
6 Mile Dogs, which
Yes.
which was on that side of things too. You're right. That whole area intersected right there on what's that? That was
That's
Finkel
Hubble.
and Hubble.
Yep.
Yep.
Finkel and Hubble.
Yeah, so that was it there. So I was there around the time I went to prison.
And then when we
too.
think about Cooley too, the location of it, it's really not another school for a while, because I mean Mumford's pretty far away.
Yeah.
McKenzie's kind of far away. Redford's
Yeah.
definitely far away.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of kids
Right.
that went there. Like it was more spread
Mm-hmm.
than most.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely, like, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like a Northwestern, like Cooley, even the tradition now, you know, them Cooley Cardinals.
Yeah, man.
You know, we know those classic Cooley basketball games. Like I tell people, like Ben Kelso, and you know, people
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, them Cooley games. Cooley Redford may have been one of the best rivalries, but also, you know, depending upon what the score of the game was, like if the game was ending in like 2 minutes, you'd be like, yeah, I kind of want to leave.
Right. You don't want to be there, bro.
Yeah. Shout out
gonna
to
go down.
Shout out to Willie Green right now. He just took the coaching job down for the New Orleans Pelicans. Another Cooley Cardinal, graduate of Cooley, and
that's
rest in
what's
peace
up.
to his brother Ben. But I remember like classic games where like Willie was amazing at Cooley. You know,
Man,
what
it's
I'm
funny
saying?
you just mentioned Kelso, because Big Kelso used to play for the Pistons,
Yeah.
and Kelso was actually the reason why I was able to attend
Wow.
Cooley. Because
Wow.
man, listen, I met him and he say, man, where your life going wrong at? What's going on, man? Let me get you up in here. Can you play basketball? I say, nah, I can't play. He say, well, you're going to be on my team anyway.
Okay, so you actually hooped on Cooley squad?
Bro, I never went out to the court and played.
But
I was just there.
But wearing a Cooley jersey under Kelso, that's like some legendary, you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
legendary.
Well, I did. I definitely did. Ninth grade.
You was
Yes,
like
sir.
the last guy on the bench, but that's still something.
Yeah, it was something, man. It was something that he let me in there. He got me into the school as long as I was on the team. And I ended up going to prison from there. I was 16. I was 16 for 2 days, Khary, and then I began that 10-year sentence from there.
So what was the stint that got you that got you locked up, and how did that, well, first, even before we go there, all right, even being on the end of the bench, how did that feel? What was it like being at a Cooley game? Because I'm just spectating watching.
Right.
Cooley Redford. What was it like actually wearing the jersey, even though you was on the bench? Just seeing that atmosphere, because it felt like being at a Cooley game. It felt like, first off, because it's the old school gyms where like the stands also went to upstairs, and it felt like the ground was shaking.
Yeah,
in
it was
there.
wild.
How did it feel like being on the team?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. I hate to tell you the whole truth, nothing but the truth, but I gotta get helped by God, so I have to. Man, listen, I was so wild, Khary. I never put the jersey on, bro. Listen, man. I end up getting the sentence before that could even happen.
You got the sentence before you were actually before the season started, the team and everything.
Yep. I got the sentence before that happened. Man.
So. Well, let's say this for Kelso and all the Cooley Cardinals. You saw some vision in Vaughn, and I mean, it took a while. It took a while to come to ferment, but you saw it.
Yeah, it bubbled up at some point. It came out. Yeah. You know, it definitely came out. I had to do that 10, man, and then come out right. I would love to run into Kelso now, man. I wonder what he into if he around. I wonder where he at.
If I'm correct, I mean, I hate to call this. I mean, I'm gonna Google it. I think he may have passed away, but I may be wrong though. I may be wrong, but I'm gonna definitely look this up as we're talking. What was the stint? What was the incident that led to you to put down 10? Because 10 is a dime is strong, especially at 16.
It is, man. But if I could say so myself, you know, I can't really speak for nobody else, just for me. If I was gonna ever do 10 years, I think that frame of time was probably the best time to do it. You know, when I had a lot to learn, when I was doing a lot of development, figuring life out. You know, I think that was probably, I definitely wouldn't want to do it right now. But I mean, we should never want to do it, period. But if I ever had to, I would say that was the best time of my life to have to do it. But carjacking, armed robbery, man. I was out with a broken pellet gun, man, and robbed a guy with it. It looked real, and I was young. I couldn't get a hold of a real gun at the time, but we needed money. And man, I went out, took this guy's. I want to meet this guy. I've been saying his name on a couple of occasions, man, on different interviews, and I hope that one day I get to apologize to this brother in person. But his name was Louis Gibbs, and I was 16 for 2 days, man, and we took the brother's car, you know, and that began it. You know, I got caught that night. And I didn't come home till 10 years later. So I was 26 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, this is the pressure when we think of machismo and the thought process. So like guys like you, Seven the General, Yusef, Shaka, so many other dudes that like put in so much time, especially at an early age. You know, Raphael Johnson.
Yeah. Good brothers. Yeah.
It's tough being away, but the masculinity and the machismo of just being around a lot of men, not locked up, but let alone I know in lockup from the outside looking in. I was arrested for 1 day, and let me put it like this: I hated posting bond, but best money I've ever goddamn spent.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what those incidents escalate like. Because it can just be something as small as like, you know, a guy saying like, yeah, man, you from Linwood too? My man say he don't know you. Like something like that could be like, okay, do I sock him in the face? Do I not say nothing? Do I brush it off? Like I guess the anxiety of not knowing when this could be a violent situation.
Yeah.
And then knowing that violent situation can spark off any time just due to like this person's just frustrated. Their anger has them there. And they may want you to even play into your anger. Yeah. That anxiety seemed like it would be what would make prison unbearable for me.
Individuality.
How did you deal with that?
I mean, it depends on who you are. Because that anxiety that you're talking about, the environment being tense and kind of chaotic, that was my house, you know, and I didn't really realize it till, you know, looking back. But that was my household. My household was tense and chaotic, and you never know when some shit gonna pop. My mother was like that, you know. So being around a bunch of guys that was on that same tip, you know, sad to say it, bro, but it felt like home. What I knew to be home.
And that seems to be what would make it so heavy for me.
Yeah.
And even the adjustments. Like I remember like one time we was at an event, your homeboy that got out. You may not even remember this. And like he just put in like 12.
Okay.
And you was like trying to drop some game on him, and I'm like, look, you just put in 12. His mind, it's hard for him to even process this because first off, it's too many people. This room too big. You know what I'm saying? Like even to this day, like the way you look, I mean, I notice it. I don't know if other people notice it, but the way you peep a space before you even engage in the space.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't even walk in a room like everybody else. You, Shaka, Yusef, any of them. Like, you know, the way y'all may like a corner more than the other person. And it's like, nah, let that man get that corner. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's that classic scene in Malcolm X where it's like, I don't like to sit with my back to the door. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool for some people to say, but it's like, all right, he's saying that because he's seen somebody, you know.
Yeah, we didn't seen some things. I mean, now at this point, I don't always feel like that because the spaces I move in, I mean, you never know where I'm at this point in life.
Yeah.
But so I don't really feel like that all the time. But if I'm in certain spaces though, I do want to be a little careful how we moving, you know.
And that's I peep that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like a different way, but you're saying like even as a child, it was something where you were so used to possibly seeing chaos pop off at any time that you kind of already had a comfort zone in that.
Yeah, man. I mean, just to give you a quick visual on that, bro, I seen my sister get her ass sliced open with a cleaver by my mother. You know, and put out the house naked, bro, and have to run miles away naked, bro. Yeah, like this real talk. Run naked from 6 Mile and Schaefer to Grand River and Hubble. You know, and so when you growing up seeing that kind of stuff, and then the things that happen to me too, you end up with this kind of, you know, it ain't like you fearless because you so confident, but you fearless because you don't really know much else. Like you understand chaos. And so when you in the middle of it, you ain't really fearful because it's calm. It's you used to it.
And when you talk about that used to it and chaos, it's unique because it's like, you know, when people take the bus, you know, and then a person gets on the bus and they make spaz out a little bit. Or, you know, this past weekend, I'm walking down the street and it's a guy and, you know, I got my camera equipment costs a lot, good lens and all that stuff. Yeah. And he kind of spazzing, you know, yelling, shouting, cussing. You know, a lot of other people like walking away from him. But it's such a weird back to like the mental machismo. It's like, okay, I'm gonna still walk past this dude. Yeah. I assume prison, you probably see incidents like that all the time.
Bro, listen, man, just a quick story. I'll slide in here about a 2-minute story, bro. I'll make it shorter than that. I was walking. I was the guy who typed up the tickets, the gambling tickets. In prison. So I would type these up on my typewriter and people would gamble, you know, put a few dollars on it. Yeah. And after about 100 people do that, you got a little bit of money, you know. So I would do that. And I was walking and I was handing out these tickets, man. And a guy walked past with a blade that was about 14 inches long, bro. Yeah. And just hit the guy in front of me with it. Bang, in the back. And the guy falls and he's committed to this, man. He gonna stab this guy. So the guy fall down and bang, bang, bang. You could hear the bottom of his palm, bro, hitting the guy's back. Yeah. And so you know that blade going through.
And this is like right next to you.
Bro, this in front of me.
Right in front of you.
Just like this microphone is.
Yeah.
And so I watched this and I said, damn. And so I'm trying to catch my man that I was giving a gambling ticket to. So I get him one and I pass out the other ones. Then I go into the unit. And as I was going up the stairs, man, my homeboy is right next to me. And I said, bro, you know, I think we really kind of messed up, bro.
Because you were so desensitized and you just knew to respond. Like, I can't even look at this. Like, I'm seeing this, but I'm not seeing this.
Yeah, I couldn't really take in that one of my brothers it might be being killed. Yeah. You know, like that didn't rock me like it should rock me.
Yeah, you didn't stop, you didn't scream, you didn't say, hey, help him out. It was like,
yeah,
here go your ticket.
Yeah, bro. I just was focused on my agenda. And that's what happens a lot of times in the hood, bro. We just get kind of focused on our agendas because the violence and the mayhem is what we always around. Yeah. You know, and we become kind of numb to it. It's sad, bro, but it's our reality, man.
Now, when you talk about that reality, after serving those 10, this is around the time we meet. You get out. Yeah. What happens? You're out of jail, out of prison. Yeah. After 10 years. So like you were a teenager. Yeah. Now you're a grown man.
Yeah. I'm called such. Yeah.
What's happening? What's going on in your head? Because many people struggle through recidivism. Back to like what we say, you know, humans like comfort. I mean, you know, I think mammals like comfort. So like it's easily comfortable to get back into the game. I mean, you've been locked up. It's other people that can put plays together for you. But you had a whole different plan. How did you execute it? What was on your mind when getting out of prison? What's going on?
Man, it reaches back to me finding out about God. You know, I became really involved in Christianity while I was locked up.
Okay.
And that did some things for me.
How long in?
About between 6 and 7 years in.
What was the catalyst that made you say, all right, let me turn to Christ?
Curex. It was a Curex ministry. And it was a weekend where the prisoners could go to this one building to be able to get out their cell.
Yeah.
And I'm all about that. I want to get out my cell.
So you look at it like, hey, anything to get out.
Hey, anything, bro. I took so many different classes, man. Hey, that had nothing to do with me. I even took substance abuse classes, and I had never.
Yeah.
The only thing I had smoked was weed. I was in all type of classes. Anything that got me out that cell. But I was there at this Curex ministry weekend. And like I said, for me, it was just get out the cell, but it turned into something really different, man. There was brothers in there that was hardcore, you know, multiple murder cases and all type of stuff. And these brothers was breaking down, you know what I'm saying? They was just kind of like, you know, just looking real gentle to me, in my perspective back then. My perspective ain't that right now, but they was just looking real soft, you know, like they had became affected by all of this, you know, these brothers talking about they love him and this Christ guy and all this stuff. So I just watched this for the weekend.
And you said multiple murders, so that means they probably serving natural life.
Oh yeah, there was some natural, yeah, for sure.
So like when people say, man, how you gonna get double life? So like a life sentence, 25 years, but you know, like a natural life means that's die. Really what most people, when you hear life, and I ain't even the biggest prison person, but I know enough prison people, life, you basically, it's like this, after 25 years, you can damn near look at it like, hey, you done spent most of your life in prison.
Right.
But natural life is you will die in prison.
That's right.
And usually if you have multiple murders,
that's what
you got the natural ill.
You getting a gnat. That's what we call it. You gonna probably get a gnat. And there was a lot of guys that had gnats. And these brothers was inside of this Curex weekend changing their page, man. Like they were becoming impacted by this whole Christianity thing, which it didn't really get to me during the weekend. But at the end of it, it did. At the end of it, it did, Khary. I had walked out of the weekend of this building, and I went back into the prison, and I realized, man, I'm around a bunch of people that they'll never say they love me. They actually do the opposite. They say with all of their actions, and they might say out loud, like, nigga, I want to kill you, or I don't fuck with you, or I'm gonna do this. And these guys would do these things. And I knew that I was going back into an environment that was very much different than what I had never really heard my mother say, I love you.
Yeah.
So to hear this and to hear that it was some sort of God that loved me was weird. Yeah. It was different. And I had been to church before. I had heard some of this before, but I never paid that much attention.
But your presence of mind was not there.
Not at all.
Especially with this gateway of looking at somebody with natural life.
Right.
Breaking down. Like, this puts it in a different context.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. It did. It put it in a whole nother context, bro. And when I walked out of there, it hit me that I was committed to a lifestyle where there was no love and that I was reproducing this.
Wow.
And that's when I had to take another look at my life, man. And I just wonder, and it make me emotional even right now, bro, because I thought to myself, you know, am I worthy of being loved?
Damn.
Should God love me?
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't take the opportunity like them guys did. And so when I walked in the cell, I collapsed, bro. I collapsed, man. I fell against my locker because I was just emotionally impacted by it, man. I asked God, would you love me too?
And is this like one of the first times you can remember being in prayer and having a conversation with God?
Man, well, it wasn't the first time I had prayed. I had prayed before that, which has something to do with this as well, because one of the dreams that I had after praying It was about the different religions that I had kept being approached by, the Sunnis, the Shiites, the Nation, the Moors. All of them would approach me and ask me to participate in their services. And I had never seen so many different religions or gods as I looked at it then. So I prayed, I said, God, which one of these is real? Like, is it a bunch of different gods? And I prayed, and when I dreamed, it didn't make sense to me then, but I prayed, and in my dream, I was in this water, and there was a bunch of different like hawks or birds, and they all looked the same. One of them grabbed me and pulled me out the water, and I woke up. And that was like 6 years prior to what I'm about to tell you I saw. I was at the Khary ministry weekend, and a brother had painted my dream. Yeah, they had this activity where you were to paint whatever it was about 15, 20 prisoners in there. And the activity was, here goes some paint, here go a white canvas, do whatever comes out. And so we all started painting, and one of the brothers painted this picture of these birds and somebody in this water, and the bird was grabbing the guy. And it blew my
you didn't talk to him?
I didn't say anything about it.
He didn't know anything of it.
No.
But that was the image that you had from the dream.
Yeah.
And that dream, you're saying 6 years, that was almost like your first year in.
Yeah. It was my first year in. I was in Lapeer. I was at the Correctional Facility, level 4. And that's when I had that dream. I had been put in the hole for making spud juice. I was making wine in there, and they put me in the hole for that. And that's when I had the dream. And when I saw this picture, man, I didn't know how to make sense of it then either, but I knew that something weird was going on in this whole little weekend session, And so what I take from it now, though, man, is that God is omnipotent, man. He everywhere. He in everything. You can't call him one name. He all of them. And some people gonna get to know him on one level. Another person gonna get to know him on one. When I say a person, I mean different nations, different cultures, different religious groups. I feel like God is omnipotent, bro. He is in everything and everyone, just about everyone. And he is going to allow you to worship him and see him and have be a part of his mission, regardless of what group you're standing with. And that's what I took from the painting, that it didn't matter which one of these birds that I clung to, but it was the fact that I needed some spiritual direction. I needed to know he was there, and I needed to recognize and revere him.
Now, I mean, not to state too far here, but this is just questions that I gotta ask because so many brothers go through this, and you being in prison, one of the biggest chips on a lot of guys that I think feel is how unfair it is. Like when I read, Yusef's Window to My Soul, he had that in the beginning, but he had to let go of that because, I mean, like a lot of people, what he ended up going to prison for was not even a crime he committed. Now, was he doing other crimes in and around there? Yes.
Yeah, admittedly so, yeah.
But it's still sometimes hard to let go, especially being your age, being 16. It's like, damn. And then now you see all these other people that done stuff way more wild that get out sooner than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. People that have other resources, you start hearing, the other thing about prison is the, as they say, the jailhouse attorney. Yeah. Oh man, you should have, if you, the appeal, you could have, you can hold like that chip on your shoulder of like resentment, of like feeling like, damn, why is this happening to me? Which will usually lead to people questioning faith.
Right. Yeah, it does.
Did you experience any of that? How did you overcome that? Because I mean, on some level, I don't even know why I'm asking. On some level, you had to have had to question some of maybe not necessarily God, but definitely the situation and the circumstance, and have some resentment.
Listen, bro, I'm writing a book right now. It's called A Whole Lot of Peanuts, and the story is about the justice that is not served to the people that are victims of what's going on in their community. And when I say that, I mean that people are going through different traumas in all these different communities.
Yeah.
But in ours, the issues that we have, they're not engaged. They're turned away from. And so when I was going to school and I was expressing that I had all these different problems and I want to help, bro, ain't nobody help me out, bro. And then when I end up, going to prison, not saying that what I did was because I let me say this, let me preface what I'm about to say with this here. I'm terribly guilt ridden about what I did to Louis Gibbs, bro. That's why I mentioned that I would love to see this brother and apologize and show him my life and show him what I'm doing now and how I help out these other brothers who might go on the page I was going on. But I just want to say this: did I need to spend 10 years incarcerated? Was I really out to hurt someone? Did I deserve the statement that came from the parole board that said we regret that we don't have jurisdiction over Vaughn Arrington 264570, that we believe he's going to be a menace to society and should not be released? Yeah. Was that accurate? Yeah. We both know the answer to that. Hell no. Look at me. Mm-hmm. So for them to say that, for them to have this idea that I should be incarcerated for so long, even past what they had jurisdiction to hold me, that's a testament, bro, to some truth that's happening. And that truth is this: they kept the recidivism up on purpose. They kept that rate up so that they could show the public that these guys are savages and we need to keep them locked up. We need to increase the sentencing. We need to keep them confined because they're going to wreak havoc on the community. But brothers like me, because I ain't saying that all of us want to come home and hug and love on everyone. I ain't saying that. But the brothers that did, the brothers that do, they was kept inside. So the brother named Peanut, the reason why the book is called A Whole Lot of Peanuts is because I went to the parole board with a blue card. I had gained a carpenter's license. I had graduated from culinary arts and hospitality management courses, which was 1.5 years as well. I had gotten a GED. I had started pursuing college. I had custodial maintenance technology. I had got into bloodborne pathogen training. And the list goes on. I had a couple substance abuse certifications, man. I had done so many different things. And when I did all of this stuff, bro, it ended up being this situation where I had been told that I was unworthy to go home, but this brother Peanut was. Let me tell you about Peanut. Peanut had been convicted 4 different times, Khary. 4 different times he had been back and forth to prison. Mm-hmm. And on this occasion, he had done nothing at all to rectify his issues that got him there. No educational training, no plans for when he went home, nothing at all was planned out for this brother's life. And me and him went to the parole board the same day, and Peanut was released. Mm-hmm. And I was kept. Yeah. And so what that showed me was that there's a plot to this. There's something going on to this. And I ended up becoming a block representative, and I started to be able to come out of my cell for 2 hours per day to engage the prisoners. And I used that time to find out how many of them had went to the parole board and got a screening that said that they were unlikely to recur, that they wouldn't come back. And as I did that, I got these parole board screenings from these brothers, man. And I would say about 80% of them said that they were unlikely to recur, but they were given continuations. Yeah. They were kept. And so it wasn't just me. Yeah. A lot of us were kept. And so, so when you ask that question of, did I have this animosity? Did I feel this way where like something wasn't right? I didn't feel that way toward God, but I felt that way toward the justice system. Yeah. And I still feel that way, bro. I feel like it's a lot of work to be done. That's why it's big ups to the work that you do. Thank you. It's big ups to my homeboy Meek Mills. It's big ups to everybody that's doing this work to make sure that brothers are given the proper treatment and that we dealt with it in the right way when it comes to that system. Because
it's definitely one of those things where, especially when we think about the shackles that a felony has, which leads us to out of prison, like you end up in that loop. Like you know, the system, like I was telling, I was having this talk with my dad, like, let's put it like this. If America's government gets involved, it's going to be money involved in time. Being locked up going to cost you a lot of time and money. And when I say you, it's more than you. It's your family. It's your loved ones. It's everybody. It's the money on the books. It's the trips. It's the when you get out, what's the plan's going to be? It becomes a toll. It is a business, like everything that functions in America. For something to get off the ground in America, it got to make money. Right. And that, sadly, the product of the system of incarceration in America is black men.
Yeah, bro.
It is black men. Yeah. And like we can beat around the bush, if we still want to believe we're 13% of the population, but like 2/3 of the prison population.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean, you were there and went and traveled and saw how many of us hold up these weird ass, like you say, Iona and Alpena and these weird towns. Yeah, whole industries.
Yeah, it's an industry, bro.
Like
it's so awful, man, because I have traveled. You know, now at this point, Khary, I've been home. It's been 13 years that I've been home. I've been to 20 plus countries, you know, doing the work of engaging different institutional leaders on the educational front, on the community front, about how to reach at-risk youth, how to make kids who are not into education reach for it and strive for it. And in doing this work, I've realized, man, that it ain't just the United States. It wasn't just Detroit. It wasn't just Michigan. It wasn't America. When you go to these black communities, you see this stuff happening, man, all the way across. I've been in Asia. I've been all throughout Europe. I done been some places, man, and I see it's mirror like, you know, the same type of stuff is going on where the opportunities are few, but the opportunities to grow and develop and do great things are few, but the opportunities to be incarcerated and to be penalized for stuff are high.
Like they say, prisons are full, but they'll definitely make a bed for your ass.
That's right, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
They'll build one for you.
Yeah.
It's an industry, like you said.
It's a cot for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, they ain't that old fool.
Nah, they not, bro.
You know, and you don't want to play that game, especially being a black man, young black man especially. So let's talk about getting out. Upon release, what was the plan? And soon after we meet, but what was the plan upon release?
Man, I had one of the times that I went to solitary confinement, you know, in the 10 years that I was locked up, I spent 6 of those confined. And
damn.
In the hole, I was in solitary confinement, and in one of those stints when I was in the hole, I started hearing a voice. I started hallucinating.
Because I was gonna say, I mean, we're social creatures, and that's why people want to ban the hole altogether. Yeah, it's a big advocacy behind that. I know Shaka's big on that.
Yeah,
Shaka Senghor.
Man, I got mad respect for Shaka on that.
But it's inhumane.
It is, bro, and it causes some issues, man. And what happened to me was I started hearing this little girl talking to me, and I couldn't ever make out the words. So I kept listening harder, trying to figure out what she was saying. And at some point, I just realized it ain't nobody there.
Okay, now when you're hallucinating in that sense, and it's not, you know, it's not mushrooms or acid or nothing.
Right.
This is really just the fact of like how much social interaction is needed for human beings.
Yeah.
Consciously, like how long did it take for that to happen? But you're saying you consciously snapped out of it. How long did it take to hear,
to get there? Saying?
Yes.
To get to that place. Well, at that time, I think I had probably been in solitary confinement a total of about 4.5 years to 5 years at this time. Yeah. And but it really was the conditions of the prison that I was in. The prison that
what was the trigger that led you? I mean, because also, you know, going to solitary, you can, depending upon what that prison is, it could be, you know, you don't clean up your food. What was the trigger that, I mean, what were some of the incidents that led you?
Most of the time it would be getting into it with the officers. The officers might tell me to lock down when I got like 5 or 6 minutes left to, you know, do my thing. When you in prison, bro, 5-6 minutes a long time, bro. Cause you inside of your cell for 23 hours. You know what I'm saying? So when I get this 1 hour out, I'm gonna need all that. So you telling me to lock down when in 5 minutes I could go to the microwave, warm me up a soup. I can make 2 phone calls. I could play a quick game of all this stuff could happen in 5 minutes of freedom when you don't have any is expensive, bro. And so when the officers would tell me to lock down, I wouldn't be with the shits. No, I ain't locking down. And then I would tell everybody else, why y'all finna lock down when we got 5-6 minutes left? And so stuff like that, me getting into it, the officers for things that they would tell us to do that wasn't right. You know, that would
Yeah.
be the majority of the time that I would find myself in the hole. But the story though, back to your question about
How long it took?
yeah, how long it took though. That question, man, it took like 5.5 years. And being in that hole, going back to your other question about what was in my mind when I came home, how did I get myself on this page where I was doing the right things and stuff?
Yeah.
It was there. When I was hallucinating, I found out if I talked to myself, I couldn't hear the voice.
Wow.
And so I started asking myself questions. So I started saying, well, Vaughn, what you gonna do when you get home? Okay, you gonna go to college for what? Okay, when you go to college for business, then what are you gonna do with the business degree? Okay, so you're gonna start a company where you're selling products. Okay, where you gonna sell? So I would ask myself these questions that went on for days. And this ended up becoming my life plan. This became the plan that I would go by every day, and I still move off this plan.
Wow.
Because I had nothing. I had no books. I had no television. The only thing I had was the risk of going psychotic, bro, of having a psychotic breakdown. That's all I had. If I didn't have a conversation about what I was gonna do with my life, then
you hearing 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, girl, jumping rope over there in the corner, like what the hell,
bro? I was here, something was going on, bro. So I had to have this conversation, man. And when I got home, you know, I didn't realize it right away until I had did some work with Kellogg Foundation, and a question was asked, the same question that you asked, and I told that story, which I had never told. I was kind of embarrassed about hearing a voice, you know, and so I wouldn't really talk about it too much, but it was real, you know, it was what it was. And that's what led me to make these plans that I was gonna do youth programs. I was gonna run a business. I was going to make an impact in my city.
This is what's so crazy is, I mean, we almost to the halfway point, but we gonna grow, but Marygrove.
Yeah.
What led you to Marygrove? And shout out to Marygrove as the
Long
institution.
live.
It's sad that it's closed.
Yeah.
What led you there? And how long did it take for you to get to Marygrove College?
Man, I started college a month after being released.
Wow.
Yeah. I started the social work program. I've initially I went to Schoolcraft for coloring. I love that stove, bro. I love cooking, man.
Yeah.
And I went to Schoolcraft College to learn about culinary arts a little bit further.
Because it's a good culinary program.
Oh man, it's one of the most outstanding ones we have in the state.
Yeah.
And so I was with that. So I went there, I enrolled, and my cousin Alan Tumpkin, man, this is one of the brothers that I will always respect and love for the rest of my life for what he did. He came to my mother's house. I was living with my mother, and I had only been home a couple of weeks. And he said, "So Vaughn, what's up, man? Like, what you gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, I already enrolled in Schoolcraft."
Yeah.
And he said, "What's with these programs that you were telling me about? You was writing me letters. You know, what's up with that stuff?" So I showed him, and he said, "Man, you need to go to social work program at Marygrove College. I'm gonna be here tomorrow morning. Be ready." He took me to that campus, bro. I never left.
That's what's so crazy. And I probably met you. And see, I didn't know it hit off, but shout out Leslie Jackson.
Yeah, Leslie. What up, Leslie?
And
Yes, bro.
shout out Khalid Muhammad.
Yeah,
Because it
yes, sir.
was Khalid Muhammad
Yeah,
called me one day, and Khalid, as we know, with the Hip Hop Mobile Museum,
Yep.
and helping what's happening with the Hip Hop Museum in New York right now.
Yeah.
His PhD now and the program that he's doing with the different university, like he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
But Khalid at the time was managing Proof, Iron Fist, and all that stuff.
Yep.
And definitely deeply connected with Professor Griff. And he's like, "Yo, brother, it's a panel I got over here at Marygrove, and it's this lady, it's this young sister that's doing some different things. I want to say, I forget the father's name at Marygrove at the time, but he was like, the father that just came here wants to do more things in the community."
Yeah, I think it was Father Ted.
Yep. He was
Yep.
like, "Yo, I think you need to come be on this panel
Yep.
and meet with Leslie Jackson."
Yeah.
So I meet with Leslie. I'm like, "Damn, Leslie fine as ever." That's what I'm thinking, right? So I'm meeting with her, and she's like, "It's a new student here, Vaughn Arrington. You need to meet Vaughn."
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. And you just had everything on point.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on this panel. I'm like, damn, I need Vaughn to come on this TV show one day, because I was hosting a TV show at the Michigan Citizen
show. Yep.
On HPR. Shout out Watkins Broadcasting. Like, so people kind of know. People be like, man, you a good interview. I've been doing this interview thing.
Bro, you've been doing this for about 15 years, bro.
For a grip. So these are kind of how all the pieces. We get to a panel at Marygrove.
Yeah.
And we're on this panel together.
Yeah.
Because Leslie wanted you to represent the students.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I knew you was fresh out, but I didn't know you was that fresh out. You was like a stone's throw fresh out. Like a couple of weeks.
It was like a month tops.
So I'm like, yes.
Maybe 2 months.
Like a couple of weeks ago.
Right. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a good panel too, man. That was a good panel. And that is where we met, bro. And I had Leslie had taken a strong liking to me, man, because of man, I had being in that cell, Khary, it's man, it's so it's depriving in ways that you don't even know. You know, especially at my age. I was 16 when I went in, so I didn't understand all the opportunities that I had missed. Yeah. You know, but when I had gotten out, and again, we talking about 1997, okay? When I went to prison, brothers ain't had computers at their house. You know, and so when I came home, brothers got computers in their pocket called a cell phone.
Yeah.
And so bro, I feel like Bernie Rubble.
And you ate up everything.
Bro, I couldn't sleep.
Now as you talk about like, yo, 1 hour, I need everything. That's how you were with all of the events, all of the, like, for certain people when they talk about going to college or high school or whatever.
Yeah.
But especially with college, like I tell people, turn over your stones. It's opportunities in there. Like, and join some clubs, join some organizations, network, because you can meet some people that will be putting seeds and making plays later down the line. I know sometimes people like to look at, sometimes people look at college like how certain people look at serving time in jail. Like, hey, man, I'm going to just go in, get my paper, and then I'm out. Yeah. But you were turning over every stone that Marygrove was throwing at you.
I was hungry, bro. I was deprived of opportunity. I hadn't had a chance to engage with humans. Yeah. You know, I hadn't had an opportunity to eat intellectual gems, bro, fruit. I was deprived. And so now I'm in this educational institution where I can lead things. My voice is heard. I can listen to, man, profound wisdom from speakers that want to come in and share it freely with me. This was, man, college was crazy, in a good way. So heck yeah, I was trying to turn over every stone and have some knowledge under it, man.
And I was like, yeah, man, I rhyme, and you was like, yeah, I could do this and I could do that.
Yeah.
So I'm presenting all this information about how me and Vaughn met, because along the way, Vaughn was like, yeah, you can rap, you doing your thing, you could. How does this work? And you were just asking questions about how music happened. You was like, man, I can introduce you to some people. And I'm like, man, I'm planning something. I want to manage some artists, but give me some time. And you was like, I can introduce you to some people. And I was like, man, Vaughn, chill for a second. Let me figure out who those artists gonna be.
Yeah.
So maybe about a year later, because it ain't that much later. Like almost like a year's time later.
Maybe a year. I don't even know if it was a whole year.
It may have not even been a whole year. Very good point.
Yeah.
Because you would hit me up and I was like, all right, you keep hitting me up. And this is back when I had the studio, the 1440 on 1440 Gratiot, where like most people call it like where Lake Culture is, like right next to where Lake Culture is, the restaurant. I had a studio downtown that I shared with some partners. And it was some young rappers. One of them is the brother of my homeboy wife, Dre, but like Jaren and them. And he had a whole crew. And I was like, man, I know how these young dudes is. Because you had a different idea. I'm like, if they don't have a job, what they going to end up doing is like selling weed, be in and out of sort of like, with little short stints and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. They don't really have no skill set. Some of them done dropped out of high school. What could they do?
Yeah.
They could be my street team. And I knew a lot about street team marketing from shout out to LaRock Bullock, from LaRock and some other cats.
Yeah.
But I was like, they gonna need some organization, and they gonna need somebody that can recognize when they get on some street shit.
Yeah.
But also be cool with them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, Vaughn done served a dime. So he gonna know what this is like.
Mm-hmm.
And we gonna call this organization Human Flyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
bro.
you was like, what is it gonna be? What? I'm like, look, all we really gotta do is be personable, talk to people, smile, and hand out information. Because we gonna pump stuff up. Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna get y'all some contracts. The first contract I had, so I set up a business. This is what's so crazy. I set up a business and had contracts already just based on relationships. So Mama and G and the Detroit events team was like one of the first contracts. So she set us up with the Campus Martians contract. Yeah. And then right after the Campus Martians contract, the Detroit events team, this was when the Detroit Red Wings won their last championship. We had the Red Wings rally. It was also Hump and Hair Wars. Hump the Grinder and Hair Wars.
The Hair Wars was crazy.
And I love Hump. Yeah. Hump needs to. I'm gonna reconnect y'all too. And Bullock, David Bullock, and all of the stuff he was doing with the church. So I had like 4 different contracts already ready.
Already pistoled up. You was ready to go.
It was at the time, what's that, 12 years ago? What
it was like about 13, 12 years ago.
Like so 12. Like whatever that is, around that time, like 07, 08.
Yeah.
So that's even further back than that. So
I think it was 08. It was 08, 09.
Yeah, 08,
on
09.
that interview. Yep.
So and this is like a lick for like, maybe like $15,000 worth of business. And in my mind at that time, 15 G's is like, damn, this 15. I remember I kicked it to you. I'm like, this 15 G's, and I just want like a piece off the top. Yeah. You can run with this, Vaughn.
Yeah. But you know what? You got to rewind a little bit though, because we can't excuse God from the equation. Because let me tell you, I had this idea brewing that I would create something where I could use kids at the college to do something. Yes. And that's when you hit me. We was doing the show because I kept hitting you up and you said, you gonna come on my show. So I went on the show and you asked me, well, what you gonna do next? And I say, well, I got this idea that I've been playing with of growing something. Boom, we go to commercial break and you say, bro, we gonna do this together. Yes. And that's when you hit me like, listen, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, I'm thinking this, and bam, you laid out for me. You had it all laid out.
Yeah, and I had the logo. I had the business idea. I was like, I got contracts already. Because my thought process is, you hear my perspective of it.
Yeah.
But this is where you and already the legwork you was doing.
Yeah.
My rapper friends, the little homies, they did not show up. They showed up one day and nothing else. Yeah. So you called me the very next day like, dog, your people ain't here. And I was like, what?
Yeah, that sucked.
I'm like at the studio, right? And I'm like, man,
that day.
And then you was like, but I got you. I got people from campus. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, well, make it happen. I'm going to just take less of a cut because I thought I was providing the people in the contract.
Yeah.
And from there, Human Flyers in your lap. And they never called. Shout out to the MCs and them, but they never called me back after that. It's like I gave them a day of work and some money. I'm like, damn, man, you making like, $75 for passing out flyers. Yeah. They wasn't feeling it.
Nah, they wasn't, bro. You know what? Some things are for some people, some things not. But that's why I say we can't excuse God from it, because here I am, an ex-prisoner looking for an opportunity to earn $1. Yeah. And it ain't many for me. But see, what I understood from gangbanging is that when you got a bunch of people in one room and y'all on one movement, it's powerful as long as you can orchestrate it. And I learned that from doing my thing with my set. And so when that opportunity came up, bro, I was fully present because I knew the power of what we had created.
And I thought you would have been like more like on a manager kind of kicking back level.
Yeah.
But you took that game and came back to me like the Red Wing rally. Mama and G had the African World Festival. That's back when it was still at Hart Plaza.
Yeah. And we was doing that thing.
Yeah. You were running like full staff, and where like I think maybe like out of them first couple contracts, I don't know, maybe like I got like a G out of that or something, which was gravy. You know what I'm saying? But then since then, you like, yo, man, this stuff is still blowing up, man. There's some politicians coming to me. It's community organizers coming to me more. I'm like, you was like, what should I do? And I was like, get the money. I'm like, yo, bro, that baby yours. I'm over here running this studio trying to figure out what I'm doing with
Which was sad for me, bro. Which was sad for me because You know, I had went down, man, and I got to give a shout to our boy Kamal over at allprocolor.com.
Yeah.
All Pro, man, Kamal. I went down there to him and showed him what we was trying to do, bro. And he built a new logo.
Yeah.
He gave me some colors.
Yeah.
And he just gave me some business cards and a girl named Deanna Gardner, man.
I remember Deanna.
Yeah, you know what? Deanna was actually my first girlfriend home from prison, bro.
I remember she was, because you came and we, like most times, you just come to my crib and just meet in my living room and we just talk business for a while.
We was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was kicking it.
I was like, I don't know if I can get more contracts like that. I'm still trying. I was still perplexed that the MCs ain't follow through. I was like, man, damn, what?
Man, it was so much more to do, man. And Deanna and Kamal said, this is brilliant what you're doing. And then we end up getting a call from a couple politicians that was just a whole nother level of the game. They talking about doing the whole county. And I said, damn, well, I don't know. This is a lot. And so I did it, you know.
I remember because you called me. You was like, yo, man, I got this call. You ever heard of Kavanaugh? I was like, you mean from the county? I was like, yeah, man, I got a call where he's saying like, yo, man, I may have a, let's put it like this. We passed the statute of limitations, but I think this may be a contract for like 10 G's. I was like, are you serious? I was like, from one client? I was like, damn, that's the lick. I was like,
bro, you got your numbers wrong. It was a little more than 10 G's,
I know, but like I say, even though it's a statute, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. So all right, well, like 20 something. So like, I mean, you know, but the statute of limitations, if anybody listening. What I'm saying is that contract come through. Yeah. This organization really even wasn't on paper was everything I wrote up in the flyer. Like I made like this like piece of paper with some arms and a guy smiling because I was like, it just got to look like it's happy and affable because that's what people want to see.
Yeah, bro. And that piece of paper, that what you drew up, that's all I had to offer. I went to Kamal like, look, this what I got. What can you do? Yeah. And he like, all right, boom, come back tomorrow. Bro, he went to work on that digital design and created a masterpiece, bro. And there it was, bro. The birth of Human Flyers had now become known to the public in another type of way because we was able to pass these cards out, pass these brochures out, pass these flyers out with our name on it. And what you had in your head and what I had in my head that turned into what now, bro, is all I do.
And it synced up so well. Like for everybody listening, especially like if we're brothers from different backgrounds, definitely. I definitely didn't put down no dime, but we're the same age. Yeah. So like to see two 25-year-old black men come together around a business idea and both pour into it. This is kind of like the interview I did last 2 weeks ago where Tony and Cliff talk about Hot Sam's and like being in business together as brothers. This is just chewing the fat and having a good idea, having somebody that has the passion to follow through, and then like a visionary that's like sees where a need is, and then working out the kinks, but then also knowing when to walk away when you ain't putting in the work like that. Yeah. But you still was like, yo, if you want to get back in, you can get back in. But I'm like, man, I'm over here. But it's like it trips me out the more and more I see you travel the world with this, because I'm like, damn, that's. I'm like, Vaughn kicking ass.
Yeah, bro. I didn't ever, man. We ain't ever talk about it. Not for real. But I got to tell you, bro, you was missed, bro, because the energy that you and I both had was so intense and fiery and similar that us doing that thing together, it was just unstoppable. But, bro, like, you had this.
To tell you the truth, though, like, 100% clear, even with me. The first contract I got with Ngia, I was surprised we got. Yeah. Because you remember, like, okay, so when people know Detroit events team, like, we're young black men. Like, this is most of our business at this point in time is like handled like, you know, in the restaurant area of a McDonald's or a Burger King or something. And Ngia be like, yo, meet me down at my office in the CompuWare building. So like we gotta get like some security passes.
We had to get badges. We gotta like we gotta get cleared. It was
Like,
major.
and we, you know what I'm saying? We're as professional as we could be. You know, we
As
like
we
buttoned
could
up
be.
like that era.
Bro, I
like,
didn't even know how to tie a tie at that point. Shout out to Brian Bauer here on Quantez Presley. Bro, they taught me how to tie. I didn't know what I was doing, bro. But
So-
we was reaching another level of the game.
So we in this CompuWare, and then in classic Mama and G informed, she like, look, this what y'all boys gonna get, and this what we gonna do. I was like, it's that much money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like nudging you, like, shit. I'm
Like, hey, we about to do this. Bro, you got this? Real talk.
Almost like the energy of like a heist movie.
Yeah.
But it was business money, and it was
Yeah.
a service we could provide.
Yeah, and we did provide it. And we provided it well enough to the point where the word started to spread that we were so impactful on these streets that we started getting calls from the folks that wanted to round up the whole county. You know, so that just lets you know how impactful, how strong. And now it's gotten to the point where, bro, I could just run through what we've done now, but I don't want to miss out on saying this, that along with the knowledge that I had, and not you, I ain't had you, I didn't have much ideas on how taxes work and all that stuff, man. I started to run that thing into the ground, bro.
I know you did. Like I said the statute of limitations, because he was like, what am I supposed to do? And at that point in time, even with working with H&R Block, I wasn't as familiar with corporate taxes. Like, we never set up the LLC. We never did anything. This was like straight up from the ground.
From the ground, bro.
And it's obviously, when you do street team promotions, it's grassroots already.
Absolutely.
And most of those contracts are like right now. Like,
Right now,
when that person's
get it.
talking to you, like, if for anybody listening, this will always be a business.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It'll
like,
never
for
stop.
anybody listening, it's always a business.
It'll never stop.
But it's definitely hard work, and you got to roll up your sleeves and get
You
out
got
there.
to.
But furthermore, it is always, people always want to reach people. And it's the best way to reach people.
And then research to show you, too, that there is absolutely none. There is no greater marketing effort than person-to-person marketing.
No.
You cannot do any better. Word of mouth. Me telling you that this restaurant got the best chicken is going to work way better than any
A
beautiful,
commercial or
colorful
anything.
flyer you could
Yeah.
ever print up. It's about talking to people. And that thing became so big because of that, and it'll never die because of that.
And what's so crazy is, like, even when I was telling you saying some of my talking points from before then, I was like, it's a tool. The flyer is a tool. Because, like, some people hand people a flyer, and it's like, here you go. Here you go. Like, when you go out to Las Vegas and, like, people just going to hand you, like, a flyer to, like, a magician or a strip club or whatever, a new restaurant.
Yeah.
But it's a tool.
Yep. Yep.
It's different when that one person stops you and you walking out of your Vegas hotel and they say, hey, you don't look like you from around here, but let me tell you about the best restaurant that just opened up. And take this. I want you to take this with you.
Yeah.
This is 15% off, and you can tell them that Mike sent you.
Yep.
In reality, they don't know who the hell Mike is. But when you go in there, if you make the pitch with the flyer the right way,
You getting that 15% off.
exactly.
And they were winning, bro, because of us. And that thing, bro, it boomed so hard, Khary. It was just, I had never seen that much success, bro. But like I said, I started to run that thing into the ground because of my lack of knowledge. And I needed another partner, bro. And I was at Marygrove, and it was a girl there, Sarah May. And I approached her to help me with my nonprofit. But I think you met Sarah once.
I think we met. I'm gonna say, I don't think we met in person, but definitely through email, because you had somebody that was like, send me all the stuff that y'all got.
Yeah. So she ended up working with me on the nonprofit side of things, and we got turned down from a grant that we applied for. And we needed to figure out some bread, bro, because we were graduating. We thought we had everything figured out, that we was going to run Team Strength Detroit, and we were going to be funded by the Kellogg Fund. We thought all this stuff, and no. And so it was like, well, we need to figure this thing out. And I said, look, I got a business that I had put to rest because of what Dr. Fike said. Dr. Fike had pulled me in as his, I would say, informal intern. You know, he was taking me everywhere, bro, just showing me a whole nother side of life that I had never seen. I had become well prepared for those meetings with Angia through him and through my work with the city council. But she and I had this conversation, and I said, we could raise our own money. If we pick this thing back up, I'm telling you, it would go crazy. It was so much money. I'm telling you, let's do this. And I say, do you think this could work? Would you be willing to work with me on this? And she said, yeah, I will. I said, well, would you quit your job and help me build this? And she said, I was waiting for you. Like, I already know. Bro, she quit. Sarah quit her job, bro. And we went full steam ahead. We got our first contract with the water department of Detroit. We got another contract, bro, with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Like, it had turned from us doing, the biggest thing we had did was the Wayne County Treasure thing. Yeah. We did that, but then boom, bro, we moved into some major stuff, man. And we moved around in circles that was way bigger than what I projected possible. You know?
And I mean, to the point now where President of the United States.
Yeah, bro. Back when the Biden campaign was moving around in the city, Kamala came to the city. I had got invited to meet her. And I spoke with her briefly. I told her what I was doing in the city, what I could do. And she said, well, I'm gonna have some conversations. And I had a couple conversations too with some folks, man. And I ended up getting a phone call that said, we want to pull you in as the field director for Detroit. Bro, I'm so proud of myself for that. But the work that we did with Human Flyers, from you to Sarah to all of the folks that we work with, it had raised me to this level where I could meet with somebody who was running for the vice president seat of the United States and be taken seriously. That we have grinded that hard that I could stand eye to eye and say, I could do this. And
that's where, like, I just sit back and I say, like, damn, Vaughn is out here kicking ass.
Yeah, bro.
Of, like, really putting in the grind. So that, I mean, as we get to, like, closer to a close, what is it that keeps you so committed in grinding? Because when I think of turning over that stone and creating opportunity, you do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a lot of people that do sit on their laurels and just either maybe because they're afraid.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is, but they're just not going at it. And you created an opportunity. Like, your life story is like when a person even look at this podcast, they like, are you serious? And you create it now where you're comfortable. You know, you have the money, you have the business, you can scale up if you want, because you know you can with your business you can work 24/7 if you want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to.
Or scale down, but you know what I'm saying? You can scale up or scale down.
Yeah, either way.
What is it that keeps you committed in that grind to knowing that this is what's going to play out? This is what's going to happen?
God, bro, I know that I got a design. I'm designed for something. And I wake up every day understanding that design, bro, because I live it, I breathe it, I feel it every day. My phone was just vibrating because the kids are calling me. The kids who are cutting grass right now, quarter cuts, is calling me, bro. And they call me when I wake up. The kids call me in my sleep, bro. And I ain't talking about the phone. I'm talking about my purpose. I know what I need to do. And so me raising the money that I do, me and Sarah working together to do this thing now, it's all about us being able to fund our nonprofit. Team Strength Detroit survival relies on Human Flyers. If we don't do this thing, are we able to make the impact that we're making? The answer is no, bro, not right now. But I think it's possible later. And so we've had these conversations of letting Human Flyers be run by someone else. And this is the conversation that we having now is, you know, who is equipped enough to president seat this thing while we move over to Team Strength? Because that's really the nature of myself, bro. That's what makes me do it is I want to impact as many at-risk children that I can while I'm alive.
Well, I definitely want to tip my hat and I just kick back. Like, I don't know how many people feel about it, but, you know, people know I grind on my business and my ideas through creativity. And you took one of my ideas through creativity and you grew it like you grew it to like a point like where, you know, like that project when you plant that little tree in your grandma's backyard, then you come back like 20 years later and you like, damn, like it's real apples off this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With Human Flyers. So I sit back and yo, it's one of the dopest things ever. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, but you know, you got to know, man, like that's why I said we can't leave God out of it, because you had that vision and so did I, that we could build this, that we saw the same stuff. And we just thank God we were able to run into each other because we both were sharing that vision. And so it's so it, you know, a lot of times we say nobody will see the vision like you.
Yeah.
And that's true. But when you run into somebody who saw what you saw, and who was carrying this stuff, that's why I say God, bro, because it's just really weird that I was having these ideas to build this thing, you having this idea to build this thing, and there we go. And I needed to do what God needed me to do. And this has enabled me to do it. So, bro, I think you were divinely placed.
I was going to say, from this conversation and knowing more about your life, like this is what's so weird too. When I get people on this podcast, like you my homie, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things I've learned in this discussion that I did not know. You know what I'm saying? I definitely could see that. And furthermore, you know, whatever that path is, you know, we going to turn over more stones and we got more to come because we going to be, you know, running down the court together again. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you know, we're going to pitch off, then I'm going to pitch back, you know, hey, it's a fast break.
It is, bro. And I just want to say this while we got the air and I got the public, I got ears, bro. I just want to tell you the work that you're doing in the past, the work that you've done, that you're doing right now.
Thank you.
All of this stuff, bro, that you're doing, none of it, bro, is going without notice from him. I strongly believe this, dog, that every single thing that you put your hand on, Khary, it's been able to glitter because you're doing it, understanding what he needs from you, bro. I think that because you are built that way, that you're able to impact corners that you don't really get to see. Like you didn't know that's what was really bubbling up in me and that I needed to do all of this stuff.
No.
But see, you gave me something that I was able to take and build up so that I can do what he asked me to do.
And what's so deep even about that, like we're the same age. You know what I'm saying? So we peers and we feed off of each other, but along with that same age about you wanting to work with young people. Sort of like my kid sister, like most people know that's not like by blood, but Mashar Davis. But like
Mashar, yeah. Yes, sir.
But
you know she ended up being one of my RA students.
I know. So like you and Mashar, like sometimes I think the work and the impact, we focus so much on quantity, but the quality of like one that can take something and run with it.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, sometimes somebody got the glow. You got the glow. Like sometimes it's just that impact of one.
Yeah.
You may have 1,000 kids in there and other kids look at it like, whatever. But that one take it and just, that's LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Like one sees the vision. You hit corners and everything. Like I look at the opportunity you're doing with DPS. And when you share your story, when we was doing Follow the Leader, talking to the kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes a kid will run up to me. Some of them get it. Because sometimes, like what you say, maybe like I love your analogy. Like maybe I'm not the bird for this one. Maybe I'm not the bird that's gonna fly them up out the water or get them up out of wherever they at now. Maybe somebody else is. But it's powerful, bro. It's powerful.
Hey, it's always powerful, bro. When you move off the spirit, when you moving off of what's going on inside your heart, it's some power being produced again that you may not see. But just know what's happening. It's being orchestrated, bro. And you have been being that tool. You talked about the flyer being a tool. You are that tool. And you have enabled me to be able to move in all these different corners, man. And I thank you and I appreciate you for it, bro.
All right. So classic Detroit is different questions before we wrap. And I'm definitely going to bring you back and we'll talk some more fat about actually like some nuances and business methods and stuff.
Yeah.
People definitely need to know that because you really did get the business up from the ground that anybody listening, you can start a Human Flyers. Like you can start a Human Flyers.
That's right.
It's hands and it's mouthpiece. That's it.
Right.
You know. Now, very first car, year, make, and model. What year did you get it? And I already know you
Man.
gonna probably be like, yo, man, it took a minute because I was locked down. But
Man, it was 2008. XJ6 Vanden Plas Jaguar. 1991. It was the very last line of Jaguars built by hand. That was my first car.
okay,
Yep.
that's that human flyer money right there.
It was. Yep.
Human flyer money at them in a Jag. What was the first place you went when you had it?
Man, I think I just scooted right downtown, bro, to flex.
Okay.
I just wanted to go flex a little bit. Yep. I think that was it, man. Just doing my thing, moving around, showing off.
Okay. How long you keep that ride?
Man, that ride, bro, was a lot of work, bro.
I imagine the 91. It was probably like
Listen, they was like, they said, this was, I took it to the dealer. I had got a little money.
probably to get an oil change was like $1,000.
Man, listen, I took that sucker to Jaguar. I say, look, it's a few things wrong with it. I want to fix everything that's wrong with it. I want it to be crispy, everything on the inside. Mechanically, I want it working. They say, okay, you got to buy 2. I said,
Hilarious.
what? I said, what you mean I got to buy? They say, 1 to drive, 1 to fix. This car was made by hand, brother. We're going to need to work on it all of the time. I say, what the hell? So, you know what I did? I left that bug at the shop.
Hilarious.
I left it, bro, because the engine went out. I left that, man. I kept on going, man. But I ended up getting a Benz. I had a couple Benzes. Man, right now I got a Ram. I had to quit the motorcycle game, man. People kept telling me I was gonna die on that thing. But now I got a drop top Benz. I got a drop top Camaro. I got the 20 Ram. And that's it, man. I got a big van too.
Okay.
To keep the kids
The
moving
little
around.
kid. Yeah.
But that thing beat up, man. We need a new one now,
Hilarious.
man. That thing needs
It's
some
coming.
help.
It's coming. And then if you were to DJ at the at the end of the Detroit fireworks, Woodward and Jefferson, you the DJ.
Yeah.
What song you playing as the fireworks end?
Oh, damn. Oh man, that's a hard one. Oh, you know what? The song that want to come out my mouth is Benny Siegel, Look at Me Now.
I'm with it.
Yeah, Benny Siegel, Look at Me Now, man, because it's a reflection piece.
Yeah.
You know, look at where I came from, look at where I'm standing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, and last question. If you could rename Woodward after one Detroiter, who would it be and why?
Oh, I would say Young.
Okay.
I would name it after Coleman Young. And the reason why is because I don't see enough of reflection of him here, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That man put in so much work for this city.
Yeah.
And where you see him?
Yeah.
I don't see him, bro. Where do you see him? Real question.
When people bring it up, when I ask them this question.
Oh damn. Yeah, bro. I would call M1. I would call Woodward Young. I would. Yep.
That's it, man. Thank you so much. Hopefully people get in contact with you through me. But, you know, reach out to Human Flyers. You can see them at DPS. You got that contract. What you doing with DPS?
Man, we are doing recruitment and retention. We making sure that the students that have strayed away from DPS, they understand what it's offering now.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be a certain thing, but DPS is not what it used to be. Take a look, because it's a whole nother place now.
All right, let's do it. Let's get it. Thank you, sir.
Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.